Welcome, everyone, and I'd like to call the meeting to order for the City Advertising and Promotion Commission for May 26, 2021 at 6 p.m. Eureka Springs Auditorium. Carol, would you please call the roll?
Bobby, absent. Harry?
Present.
Melissa?
Present.
Jeff?
Here.
Patrick?
Here.
James?
Here.
Carol? Here. We have a quorum.
Thank you. I'd like for you guys to take a look at these minutes, and I know we kind of got these to you late, so I'm going to give you a minute to read through these so we can get an approval.
Okay.
The only thing we should add is the next regular meeting did not happen on the 12th. It's today. So
Okay.
we postponed that meeting till today.
Okay, the 26th. And also at the top, Green was spelt wrong, so put an E on it, and Carter was spelt wrong, put an R in it.
Okay, got it.
Any other changes?
None that I see. So I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
A second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'll abstain.
Who said that?
Me. I wasn't here.
Oh, okay, yeah. Let me write that. Carol, will you make those adjustments
Yeah.
to that and email us a copy? Thank
Okay,
you.
will do.
Rick, do you have the budget for us to do the approval of the budget?
It's hot in here. The cash balance as of April 30th was $650,681.25. Taxes remitted in April, which are March collections: food and beverage, $70,512, up $36,040 or 104.6%. Lodging, $73,778, up $46,167 or 167.2%. The total collections, $144,290, was up $82,207 or 132.4%. Year-to-date, total collections, $364,562, are up $74,319 or 25.6%. In a historical comparison to 2019, since last year was a little off, food and beverage, $63,428, was up $7,084 or 11.1%. Lodging, $52,124, up $21,654 or 41.5%. Total collections, $115,552, up $28,738 or 24.8%. The year-to-date collections, $306,960, was up $57,602 or 18.7%. That's over the 2019 numbers. Compared to our 2021 budget, our food and beverage is up $10,512 or 17.5%. Lodging is up $13,778 or 23%. The total collections, $24,290. It's up to $24,290 or 20.2%. Year-to-date, the collections are up $47,859 or 15%. And if you think back last year, the first quarter was really strong. We were up like 23%, so
Yes.
it doesn't seem like we're up a whole lot overall, but we had a really strong first quarter last year, so it kind of...
Before COVID.
Before the COVID, yeah, before
Yeah.
that first section where we were up so much
Uh-huh.
because of the shutdown.
Okay, do you have like a percentage of that from 2019?
Well, that's right.
That's in the middle section. The-
Okay.
The year-to-date collections, or,
Yeah. Yeah, just the, okay.
yeah, compared to 2019 year-to-date, we're up 18.7%.
Okay, All right. Perfect. That was before
I think it's
COVID.
pretty good.
I think it's real good.
Melissa and Harry, you guys are on the council. I'm just curious, how is this comparing to the city overall?
Well, we, in March, collected $251,000. It was the fourth largest take in sales tax in 10 years of any month. We have never had a march like that. Most of the marches which are fantastic anyway, are in the 100,000s. This is phenomenal.
Okay,
And that reflects February.
No, that was March. That was the March
but the city's
collection.
usually 2 months behind.
We're 2 months behind.
Yeah, that was the March collection.
Okay.
Yeah. February's was good, too.
Okay. Any other questions for Rick on the
No.
budget?
Motion to approve the budget.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye?
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Now we have public comments. This is open to the public. You have 3 minutes. Does anyone have something they'd like to say?
Yeah.
Hi there.
Please state your name and
Yep. Damon Hinkey. I am representing the Chamber of Commerce today. I just wanted to clear up a couple of things. One is the visitor guide situation. The visitor guide's always been just the guide of Eureka Springs. It happens to fall under the Greater Eureka Springs Chamber of Commerce to try and alleviate some of that burden of putting it together off of the CAPC. The CAPC's always had approval for the front cover. You've got content approval. Pretty much it's your overall Eureka Springs visitor guide that obviously there is a financial attribute that helps support a Chamber of Commerce in this town. That was kind of the partnership of the situation. I think we got a little confused here. There used to be a $40,000 contract for services that linked into visitor services because that's what we were pushing, but pre-internet, that's what you needed. At this point, we don't have a contract for services with the CAPC. I think we brought it up 2 years ago and it boiled into, well, we need to make marketing fund request, but it used to be just kind of a line item on the budget. At this point, there's still mailing funds in the CAPC budget. I just want to clarify that the Chamber is not asking for funds from the CAPC. We're just saying if someone requests a visitor guide that we can rely on you. We'll bring as many visitor guides as you want. If you would like to continue to mail visitor guides, I think that's the page we're on. We will mail visitor guides. We can pick up whatever costs that are appropriate for the Chamber to pick up. We just ask that the CAPC use the existing mailing budget that's there at the CAPC earmarked for publications, not just ours. If they want a fun guide, send them a fun guide. It's not about who gets it. It's about making sure that the visitor who's coming to the area gets the appropriate publication that they're requesting at the time that is in a timely manner so that they can make the decisions to come to Eureka Springs. So I just wanted to lay all that out there. I appreciate your time.
thank you, Damon.
Thank you, Damon.
Anyone else?
Of course.
Thank you. Bo Satori. I'm here to speak against the nomination of Jeff Carter for a 4-year term starting at the end of June. In the last 16 months that Carter has been on the commission, you've never hired a director. You've made attempts at it and have failed at it at every time. We have not had a director, reliable full-time director, for over 2 years. Maloney retired in March of 2019, and here we are in May of 2021 without a director. At the time, you hired Lacey, who had dubious resume and background, and she brought in her friends from Florida as an agency, and that was not put out for bid. In years past, when we had agencies, we called for bids and contracts, and they came and showed us what they intended to do for us. You have not done any of that. You terminated a publicist who was making $42,000 a year and gave the contract to Paradise for 3 times the amount at $116,000. They have no experience with Eureka Springs. And anyone who's been here and looked at the advertising that Eureka has done through the last 40, 50 years, Paradise has nothing to compare to even the worst ad agencies that have worked for us. Your discord and that you have sown in this community through arrogance and micromanaging and backstabbing and emails, which I have watched and read from Mr. Carter and Ms. Wright, has led us to a $17 million lawsuit against the city. These people have no business being on this commission. We need to bring the city together, we need to bring our commission together, and we need to get on to marketing Eureka Springs in a smart way and not just this haphazard mess. And you haven't established any priorities of where you should be spending your money without even talking about advertising. Where are your priorities? First meeting Mr. Carter chaired, his last remarks were, well, who owns the auditorium? Yeah, good question. The city does, and you're here to manage it. So that's your top priority. After that, you have special events and you have staff. We had a full-time in-house ad agency. They were all employees, lived in the city. When we had a director, they would move to Eureka and buy a house. Everybody who worked in Eureka lived in Eureka. And those same staff members helped the special events, helped coordinate volunteers. So with the way you've done this, you've gone on to wreck all the special events, as well as the commission as a whole. And so I ask this commission to consider and look for someone else that can help this city, who's got experience with this city, and do not nominate Jeff Carter. And again, Carol, I ask for your resignation.
Thank you. Any more public comments?
My name's Jeff Gregory, and my wife and I and other partners own the Cat House. I don't know you, sir, on the end.
Hey,
Sure would.
Jeff, will you please speak into the microphone so that people who are watching can hear you?
Oh, I'm sorry. I figured I was too loud for the microphone. I don't know you, sir. I was going to try to get a chance to talk to you today prior to the meeting. Harry, I know you. I think you have great ideas for the city and stuff like that. Sometimes I wonder how you're going to fund that utopia, but I think you do have the good intentions made for it. Melissa, you too, you know what I mean, as much as I hate to admit it, you know what I mean, because I think your ways of doing things sometimes or whatever. Ma'am, I don't know you from anybody. I've never met you, so I can't give an opinion one way or another. Mr. Carter, I took the time to meet you, to have you explain to me that why we're shipping $1.5 million of Eureka's tax money to a city that none of you that I've talked to so far can explain to me to what are you buying? What are you buying? What are you buying? Clicks? I asked you per click questions. You tried to explain to me about software that is rudimentary software. My partner that is in the Cat House wrote a software pretty much equivalent to what you're into. You were trying to explain to me about stuff like destination travel. I'm just telling you, sir, for those things, I think you've done some research and stuff like that. But without going through a bidding process, you guys are making a lot of decisions with a lot of money, and there's a lot of us that think it's not very transparent. So what I would ask is you just take 30 days. What are you in such a hurry for? The events have been closed down. I think you got an attorney sitting in the audience right now that says you got a board member on here signed from a judge that's not supposed to be there. The other thing, Mr. Carter, I'll tell you honestly, this town is pretty divided anyways. But in your short tenure of being here, you pissed off a lot of people. You got a lot of lawsuits going on, and I don't think that's really what we need on a board right now. I mean, I'm just telling you, I mean, these lawsuits and stuff like that, if you lose these lawsuits, ma'am, that means our tax dollars are going to pay lawsuits. And if that's what you're signing up for, then all y'all need to step. Harry, that's not what you're signing up for, I know it. You can't honestly say that. You would not do that. Melissa, same way. Sir, I don't know you, but you seem like a pretty intelligent guy. I mean, until somebody can, and when I hear answers like there's no one here that can do the job, and Mr. Carter, the other thing, you told me that you tried to hire an intern and there was no one here that was qualified to do the job. But then you also told me you were trying to get that person for $15 an hour. That shows me a little bit about your experience. Someone to run your multimedia for a city is not coming here for $15 an hour, sir. So that kind of shows me that you maybe didn't check to see what a person like that would be cost and be qualified. So I'm asking you, I don't know what you're in a hurry for, or why we're voting in presidents for extending and
Jeff, your
contracts.
time is up.
What?
Your time is up.
You get 3 minutes.
You got your 3 minutes?
Anybody behind me, sir?
Your time is up.
That's not very transparent either.
Any other public comments?
Move on. Okay.
Nope, okay, so we'll move on. Any agenda updates for our agenda? No? Okay. Rick requested that we kind of go over the budget. I think some of the budget, the last approval budget is fairly old, and so he's going to make some recommendations. We're going to take a look at this.
This is kind of the last revision that we did, and some of us have talked about additional revisions, but we really need to at least make the changes that cover the additional Paradise money, because I do have some invoices I need to pay. However, one of them, the social media and web, would be a new line item that we need to actually add in, which is under the production expense. And the website maintenance is part of that additional too, so we need to increase that by $16,250. The social and the web was $58,500. And then the agency fee went from $400,000 to $450,000 with that additional $166,000, less the $50,000 that was for advertising. That doesn't come out of that section there. And those increases are covered by the reduction in salaries, the reduction in group travel, and also the reductions within the events section there. However, we have that $100,000 that was going to be grant programs that you could funnel back into the Mayfest or the Folk Festival or whatever. That would just come from within that $100,000 if you wanted to change that. That first line is the original budget, and of course, the second line is just
Right.
the green is what we're need to increase. The red lines are what we're need to decrease to make the budget balance and cover that additional Paradise spend.
Okay.
Jeff, does this look right?
Discussion, yeah, I think we need to look at this. Obviously, we have to increase this media buy to $450, so that's something that we have to do. The events and grants, we started down that path, and then I pulled it off the agenda completely. So there was $100,000 there that I was trying to propose that we do in grant money to incentivize new event coordinators or new events to the community, those type of things. So we probably need to look directly here at the special events, keep the recommended changes here, I would think, that Rick's recommended, and then reapply this $100,000 back into, May Festival of the Arts,
Hey, Carol,
music in the park.
where do you guys stand on the May Festival?
Yeah,
So May Festival of the Arts, Sandy is here.
Oh, great.
I asked Sandy to come to kind of give us an update on what is Festival of the Arts now, because it looks like we reduced it down to $10,000. Sandy, do you mind?
Not at all, not at all. We're following the same plan that we presented to you at the beginning of the year, which was starting in mid-June, focusing on public art and creating some selfie opportunities. We have 2 sites identified for that. One is Harmon Park, to continue the Harmon Park Art Trail, which we're excited about. We started, as you remember, a couple of years ago with the Dogs Walking Hippies mural, so we want to add to that and keep that going. And the other one is the staircase that's by New Delhi. Both of those locations have been approved by Parks and by the city. And then the bulk of the money will go toward a fall Festival of the Arts that we're looking at. Seems like there's a nice sweet spot right between diversity and folk festival, and kind of overlapping that. That would be good, because there are arts events also with folk festivals, so that could be a nice transition and a nice tight 3 or 4 week period to bring tourists in for a lot of diversified reasons. So we're looking at it to spread the arts from June basically up through the middle of November. We have a couple of people already interested in the applications. We are also going to be on the Arkansas Trail of Quilts with 2 locations. One's going to be at the cemetery. The other one will be on the bathroom wall down by the music park. That's costing us nothing. That's from the Arkansas Historical Society. So we're stretching our budget like crazy with the planning to really kind of cover 4.5 months. That we think is a very smart way of spending the money and integrating the arts. The other thing that we have news on is starting in May of 2022, we're already looking forward to that, because that should be a huge extravaganza. ESSA is going to be taking over the Outrageous Parade on a permanent basis, which we are really excited about. Mm-hmm. They can't do anything with it this year. If anybody is interested in doing a parade, they can fill out the application for events and programs, and we can deal with it that way. But we're really looking forward to a major kickoff with that, done by ESSA and the arts community and done right in May of 22. So that's
Awesome.
where we are.
That's great. Glad to hear about May of 22. I know that a lot of folks were lamenting this year, but what we're talking about this year is this year, and then next year we get to reevaluate, right? And take a look at it as the beloved May Festival of the Arts, which as a tourist, I used to love coming up here in May. It was one of my favorite times, so I look forward to that coming back.
Yeah.
I have a question for you. I understand you've got about $5,000 budgeted for your grants process for directly to artists. If this budget, the budget was originally $25,000 with $5,000 now going to grants, the difference between $20,000 and $5,000, what is that going to allow you to do in November?
I'm not sure where the 5,000 comes from. What we did was out of the 25, we allocated $5,000 for the public art pieces, because they're 2 separate applications. And we wanted to make sure we had enough money there to cover some good installations on that. And the rest of it, we are banking against the Fall Festival.
Right, and so you were going under the assumption you would have $25,000.
Yes.
Someone is suggesting we cut that to $10,000. And I know you're well into your process, so my recommendation is going to be that we stay with the $25,000. But I just wanted to make sure you understood that
Yeah.
the amount was under discussion tonight.
Okay.
Any other questions for Sandy? We'll let her. Okay.
Thanks, Sandy.
Thanks.
Yeah, I agree. I'd like to see us, the Festival of the Arts, put that back at 25. Rick, can you keep a kind of a running total so we could
Yes, sir.
give us so the grant money would go away, so that would go off completely. May Festival, let's just see what the number would be if we put that at 25,000. Atmosphere, which obviously needs to be changed to music in the park. I've had some really good conversations with Ron, and I feel like and with the mayor's office, and now that we're starting in July, we're going to be able to have permits in the park, we're going to be able to have parades. All of this stuff should start to come back online. I think we should do music in the park starting on the 4th of July with a concert.
Point of order.
Okay?
We should, if we're going to change the budget, we should have a motion and a vote on that.
Well, let's look at all of it and maybe just do a working budget, and then we'll approve it if you want to. Is that okay?
I think it'd be better to do it item by item.
You want to go item by item and get
Yeah.
motion on each one?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, well, I make a motion that we support the original budget of $25,000 for the Festival of the Arts.
I second it.
Okay. I'm going to just do this by roll. So Patrick,
Yes.
Harry,
Yes?
Melissa,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Yes, okay, and that will carry. And so that would be $25,000. Change that budget to, okay. So culinary and craft, so we'll just kind of take these one at a time then. It was at $25,000 and looks like we reduced it to zero. Are we going to, do we want to?
No, I don't, and not in 2022 that we maybe think about this, but I think let's get back on our feet with events
Okay.
and put on some spectacular ones instead of trying to do a bunch of little ones.
Okay, so that stays at zero where it's already currently at. Maybe we did that. What's called atmosphere would be really music in the park, and these are shows that we do in the Basin Park. The original budget was $25,000. The proposed budget here is $15,000. So discussion on that.
Okay, is this $100,000, can we move some of
Yes.
it?
Yeah.
That's
I would like, and just because it's a budget doesn't mean we have to spend it. I'd like to move 10,000 into the music in the parks and, see where we can go from there.
so it'd be a total budget of $25,000.
Restore the 25.
Yeah,
Restore the 25. Would
Yep.
you like to make that into a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve $25,000 for music in the parks.
I'll
Okay.
second it.
Any discussion? Patrick, your vote?
Yes.
Harry?
Yes.
Melissa?
Yes,
Carol?
Yes,
And James?
Yes.
Okay, so that will go to $25,000. Of course, Fat Tire Festival, we know is being moved to next year's budget, so that would remain at zero for this year. We have Folk Festival. You guys asked me to contact Andy Green. I've contacted him. He's out of state. He would like to come to our next workshop and present some of his ideas. I've also been contacted by, and I have Nancy Paddock, who has experience with, she contacted me, we met, we had a very nice conversation. She has great ideas as well, and she would like to come and present her ideas if we were to hire her as a promoter.
Is she here?
yeah, she's in town.
no,
No, she's not here tonight. She will be here, we'll do all this at the next workshop.
All right.
But I just want to make you aware of it because we do have, I have been working with Ron, and we do have a proposed budget for you guys that I distributed to you. Anyway, so Nancy and Andy, and I did reach out to Bear. Somebody requested that we reach out to Bear Morrison. I reached out to him.
okay, good.
He responded and said he would come meet with me, and I have not made that
Okay.
contact yet. So I expect him to be
Okay.
also involved.
Okay.
But after visiting with Ron and Nancy and just getting their ideas on what things cost, we kind of come up with this proposed budget, and it's, $33,500. I really think that you guys should consider a $35,000 budget for Folk Festival, but
Why don't we, since we have that 100,000, why don't we make it 40? A budget,
Okay.
it doesn't mean you have to spend it. It just means it's there if we need it.
yes.
So you want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we increase the Folk Festival to $40,000.
I second it.
Any discussion? Patrick?
Yes.
Harry?
Yes.
Melissa?
Yes,
Carol?
Yes,
And James?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to throw in a few things. I thought the ideas that really everyone had, but ideas to bring back like some of the songwriter competitions. I thought those were good ideas to do workshops. For example, maybe a ukulele workshop, to also utilize the music park that's down on Main to make sure we have a stage set up. So I thought a lot of the ideas that they had were very good, and I'm going to make sure everyone's here for the workshop. And then we can decide who we want to put that together, because honestly, we got to get started. We can't.
Right.
The other thing is Larry has, I think, verbally agreed to be looking for 2 headliners
Yes, sir.
for that week,
Yes, sir.
which is great for us as well. We did talk about potentially even folk movies. And so there's a lot of good ideas that I think will get everybody excited. So drumming in the park originally was $3,000. I can tell you that out of all of the events when I met with the department heads, their concern mostly was for drumming in the park because of how tight people get in the park. And so if we want to do drumming in the park, I think we should, but we may want to consider maybe moving it to the fall, or maybe we consider some kind of signage that was also recommended, that we try to get people to social distance a little.
Well, it'd be
Yeah.
tough in Basin Park.
It is tough.
Well, and, getting people to follow the honor system would be nice in a perfect world. I love drumming in the park. I get a lot of questions about drumming in the park.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, we've got to do whatever we can to bring it back. We just need to workshop it and figure out a solution, a creative idea that can make it work again.
Well, the differences between indoors and outdoors is considerable.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see what happens at the end of June. We may be able to relax things. It all depends on the number of people that get vaccinated.
Right.
And-
Yeah.
So do we want to approve a budget for it tonight, and then we can revisit it later?
Yeah,
Okay.
let's just do the.
Well, we've got $1,000 on it. If we're going to go,
And so, Rick, remind me, I think that it costs us about $300 a show.
It's $300
Okay.
per show.
So if we only had a $1,000 budget, we're only going to be able to do 3, so that wouldn't be very many.
Let's do 2,000.
Well, remember, we run out of weather, too.
Right.
that is right.
Do we have a motion for that?
I'll make a motion that we up it to $2,000.
A second.
Any discussion on that? Patrick, your vote?
Yes.
Harry?
Yes.
Melissa?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
And James?
Yes.
Okay, so that passes for $2,000. We have auditorium shows. We currently, the budget originally was $20,000, and it looks like we reduced that down to 0. So do we want to put some of that back?
I think we should. I think things are starting to loosen up. I think we have some social distancing in here, and maybe we can pull something in.
Keep in mind that we also have fireworks that we need to discuss tonight, and we need a budget for that.
Right.
We are at 92,000 now that we didn't have before.
Okay, so we're still got some room there.
We also have private promoters that book the auditorium, and I think that's the direction we should go into and not get into being a booking agency. It's a pretty damn risky business.
It is.
Well, we just need enough in the budget for ushers and people working the So we need-
I don't think we should be doing it through the rest of the year. I mean, it's pretty iffy. If you were concerned about drumming in the park, you damn sure better be concerned about indoor shows.
Do we have shows booked already? I mean, by promoters?
Yes, sir. September is our first big show,
Right.
which is Robert Earl King.
So we need a little money in the budget for,
Well,
Ushers.
the staff is underneath the auditorium expense. It's not, this is actually,
okay,
this money was actually to buy an act. So you really wouldn't have to do that right now, I mean, because there's still going to be some money left here. If Larry couldn't book us up a bunch of stuff, which he's really trying to do the last half of the year because he's lost, 3/4 of his year's
Sure.
income as well, so.
Okay.
okay.
So we have September booked. You've got Coco Peru right in November.
Yes, and we have Fortune Feimster, which has already sold 670 tickets on Sunday, November the 7th, so.
Cool.
And the same promoter that brings in our big shows brought that one in too.
Good.
Well, I make a motion that we leave auditorium shows where it is then.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, so Patrick,
Yes.
Harry,
Yes.
Melissa,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
and James?
Yes.
Okay, so that was to approve to leave it at 0
Yep.
for now. We'll revisit that as we get into Christmas. is set at 10,000. That's already approved. We wouldn't have to approve it again. Do we want to make any changes on the Christmas budget?
No.
Yep.
Group travel is at 27. Do we need to vote on that?
Let's, can we finish out some, maybe the special events? Because I wanted to add into this, would you guys consider adding into the special events, the fireworks, parks, and Kevin is here. Kevin, would you come up and talk to us about the fireworks? They've approved half of the money. We talked about this in our last workshop about them paying for half the show and us paying for half of the show.
Right. So
Tell us about the show, the date, location, and all that.
We've got the date committed for the 4th on a $15,000 contract that we would split. We've approved up to $7,500 in our last meeting. We have permission from the property owners, and we've already got the insurance certificates taken care of. The only thing we need to resolve is a rain date, because that needs to be part of the contract. If it should rain on the night of the 4th, do we want to try to move it to the 5th?
Okay. Discussion on that? Any questions for Kevin? My understanding is this show would be much bigger than the last show that we
Yeah,
did.
it would.
I even heard that there would be some 6-inch shells. Is that?
Right. So the last show, the equivalent of the last show was the 10,000.
Okay.
So the two proposals we got from them was 10,000, which was the same as the last one, or 15,000. The only one available for the 4th was 15,000, which I think is fine, coming out of the lockdown and nothing happening for a year. That's probably a good way to celebrate it.
Okay. So would you guys like to approve up to $7,500 for?
I'll make a motion to approve $7,500 for the 4th of July.
Do we have
I'll
a
second it.
Got a question?
Okay, let's,
We're not actually doing it on the 4th, are we?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought we couldn't get the 4th. All right, cool.
just to remind everybody, the 4th is a Sunday, which is great for tourism. That means that
Yes.
people will stay the night and they will enjoy Monday as well.
That's a great idea.
It's a good fit. So we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that? Okay, Patrick, your vote for fireworks.
Yes.
Harry,
Yes.
Melissa,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
and James.
Yes.
Okay. It passes, and thank you, Kevin, and thanks to the Parks Department for really taking that on. That's a big responsibility. Anything else that we can do, will you just let us know, okay? We did have a workshop with Mardi Gras. Do we want to add Mardi Gras to this portion of our budget, or do we want to take that out of marketing support? Because we still have some marketing support money, correct? Marketing support,
Yes, it's back to its original amount of 29,000, and we've only given out 5,000 so far to the Eureka.
so we could take that out of that budget if we wanted to. Do you guys want to discuss Mardi Gras?
I thought, yeah, during the workshop, we discussed giving them some marketing help for this year so that they could do some of the preliminary work working into next year, and then they could also reapply for more money to start the 2022 season in October, correct?
Yeah, I think that's right. I don't know that did we come up with a number?
I wanted to know, James has a lot of experience in that area. James, Mardi Gras, your experience, where are you at on, they originally asked for $5,000. They need a little bit of marketing support this year to get ready for next year, because it really falls, the Mardi Gras.
Well, I don't know why we're segregating it, because it occurs so early in the year. I mean, it's pretty much our first festival,
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
and it's a festival at a time when there ain't a whole lot going on.
Well, they were asking for 10,000. We were talking about giving them 5,000 now, and then in October, we could request another grant.
Well, I'd rather just do the 10 grand. I mean, we cut pretty much all of this stuff out already.
I'm just saying, that's what was
I'm
discussed
speaking as
last time.
speaking as a restaurant representative here on the commission. We don't get much.
That's what you're supposed to do. Yeah.
We don't get much. And we took it on the chin.
Well,
Big
I'm
time.
all for supporting them. I'm just reiterating what we said in the workshop.
I understand that, but I think it would make more sense in my mind not to have that ambiguity out there in October, whether or not.
Are you making it a motion?
Yeah,
A motion that we approve $10,000 for the 22
okay.
Mardi Gras, because it is a long event. It's not just a weekend,
No, it is.
and that's significant, especially at that time of year.
I'll
So-
second it.
But, so will you clarify, do you want that, because if we do it out of marketing support, really, that's a $5,000 max.
Right.
But if we do it out of special events, we could do $10,000.
Well, I would make the motion that we get it out of special
I
events,
agree
since
with
we've
that.
taken so much out of special events
So-
already.
I think it's good. I think that the fact that they're working together, you want to come up and talk about it? They're working together. I think Mardi Gras this year looks like it would be as big as it's ever been, and if we
I'm
can
all
support that, I'm all for it.
It is promising, definitely, for a lot of the crews. And also, we have another crew coming on board, so
Yay.
our website is coming together. I think we do stand to have a really good 2 months worth of Mardi Gras.
I have a question. I know you had originally said 2 crews were requesting the money.
That's correct.
Can we make sure that all the crews are able to share in the 10?
You have my word.
Okay, so we have a motion from James. Do we have a second?
Yes, Harry.
Okay, Harry has a second. Any discussion at all? Okay, Patrick, your vote?
Yes.
Harry?
Yes.
Melissa?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
And James
Yes.
is obviously a yes.
Cool.
Okay, is there anything else in this? That looks like that would be the end of that budget. Is there anything else in that budget that we wanted to add or take away? And Rick, do you have a total what we come to there?
That leaves us $3,500 in that $100,000 section that is kind of just still there, but
Okay.
Cool.
So that's pretty good, I think. Okay. Anything else? Anything else you need on the budget?
yeah, I really need you to approve the additions for the media,
Okay.
in the green for the media expense and then the production expense.
Okay.
Because the auditors are on board and they do look if we're out of whack on our budget. And since we already approved the 166,000, but we didn't appropriate the money for it, they may ding us for that. And that's split up between the ad agency media, and that's off of that sheet that was signed for the 166,000. It was 50,000 in the ad agency, 16,250 in website maintenance.
Okay, so everything in green you want us to approve. To make it-
Right.
Can we do that in one motion for you?
Yep.
Is that-
Yeah,
Would
absolutely.
somebody like to make a
Okay.
motion for that?
I'll make a motion that we approve the ad agency media, the website maintenance, and the Paradise Social Web line items in the budget.
I second.
Okay. Patrick, your vote?
Yes.
Harry?
Yes.
Melissa?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
And James? Okay, that passes.
Yes.
So is there anything else you needed on the budget, or we're good?
I'm good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much on that. Okay, so the budget discussions are over. I'm going to turn it over to Patrick, to Paradise, so that they've sent us over some information. I don't know if Ron got this in time or not to get it on the screen.
So in discussing during our bi-weekly meetings with Paradise, we started off by meeting a new member of the team that they've added named Evan. He's going to be assisting Rudy. Sarah, our main contact with Paradise, is going to be leaving for maternity leave June 1st. So she's excited, and we're excited for her. But they're leaving us in great hands. Rudy and Evan are going to be doing some great work. Evan did have a problem, HCI, the website. He was booted off on Friday, but there was no response from them. Hopefully we'll get that resolved. As far as the numbers go, when I spoke with Greg, he talked about the next page. up, which is our video completion rate. Hey, Ron, you want to go to the next page?
Right. 83.31%.
So the numbers are looking great, and it really shows that we've got a pro team working. It's something that, of course, there's a learning curve, and they're on top of it. They're well on top of it. Our numbers are growing. Our followers are growing. We are about to experience that big summer push. I'm really looking forward to that. The total impressions are up on the site, total clicks. We're looking at a lot of really great stuff. The social media that they've been posting has been getting some great responses. The post reach has been 616 on just the Blue Springs Heritage Center alone. That's been one of the top hits there. A lot of great conversations going on. And overall, we're looking good. And I'm happy to see what I'm seeing. I think that what you're going to start seeing is even more increases in this. I realize that people don't understand advertising and they complain about the money we're spending in the budget, but it is a long game. Everything happening in town right now, we're busy, we're happy. That is a pure example of having Paradise on our side last year. Everything that they're doing right now isn't for now, it's for next year. It's for the end of this year, it's for next year. It is to improve our numbers, and I think we're going to see them.
Somebody could answer this question. When did we hire Paradise?
February of 20, correct? Was that the actual
I think
hire
that's-
date?
Yeah,
Okay.
pretty close. It was right at the beginning of 2020.
Okay.
Look, I think this video completion rate, that's pretty amazing, 83%.
It really is.
You got to realize to get a video completion rate, they have to watch all the video, and most people will watch half and they click out or 2/3 and they jump out of it. But to get an 83%, that's pretty high. Almost 3 million impressions. Look, that's where you start when you try to get people involved in our community, is you give them an impression first. And that's a lot of impressions.
Yeah, you're lucky to get 70%
Yeah.
in video
So-
completion rate.
I thought the numbers were great. So anybody got any questions on any of these numbers?
I will put one thing out. Speaking with Jenna, who is handling the PR, some great PR placements that we've had and coming up as well. She mentioned local owners, human interest stories. They're looking for more. If anyone has any suggestions, please put them to me or put them to Sarah. They want to know more about people in town. We're a very eclectic community, and I love shouting it out. I love telling people about the fun, interesting people of Eureka, because that's part of the experience, in my opinion.
Absolutely. I'm just curious, Patrick, I don't know if you noticed this or not, but it was followers by gender, female, 75.1%. Where does that fall in the normal, do you have any idea, a sense of?
What page are you on? Where are you at?
Oh, I don't know, it doesn't have a page number. It's this page, if you want to.
Yep, that one.
I just thought that was pretty high, that it was 75%. Our followers were 75% female.
Well, I noticed that the followers by age group is,
That's a good question.
35-44 and 25-34 are the two largest ones,
Yeah.
which really surprises me.
You know, I think Facebook is if you're looking at, is this Facebook or is this is Instagram? Okay, yeah.
Okay.
And then if you look at the Facebook followers, it's 84% female.
And female, 75.1% of female followers, yeah.
I just thought that was notable, like that number's pretty high to me. I
Yeah.
think it's just notable for the ad agency to look
I
at.
think the length of stay statistics are interesting in that people from Minnesota seem to stay the longest, 4.25 days, Ohio, 4 days, Mississippi, 3.5 days, Louisiana, 3.5, and Tennessee, 3.5.
I know I saw that too. So where did I see that?
And that is, social media accounts do skew female heavy across the board,
Yeah.
generally speaking.
So as far as the stories of local businesses and so forth, do they want a video? Do they just want to interview?
Well, actually, I mean, we can use them in blog entries, we can use them as Facebook posts, Instagram posts. It's one of those meet a Eurekan, introduce you to someone, but blog posts are great for that. And it's something that people love to share. As Jeff had mentioned, one of the great things about blogs is that if we can get them shared, it's that cross-marketing that starts happening. It exponentially increases your followers.
Okay, so what do we, I'm willing to go around and tell people to send us a blog, but where did they send it to?
Just either get in touch with me, get in touch with Jeff. They could even send it straight to the ad agency if they like, but probably best to come through one of us
Okay,
up here. If they have an idea, just let us know.
sure.
Patrick, since you have the connection to the website, is this on our .biz site yet, this information?
No.
Okay, could we put this up on there?
On
the
the CAPC.biz?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I can get that there.
And if we did that, we do have an email list that's just I'm assuming we have an email list, that we could send this out to everybody in town so they could see it, so that everyone can, and Melissa, if you talk to Jeff, will you make sure he sees this
Yes.
information?
Mhm.
Yeah, thank you. Anything else on this? I just thought it was all really good. Keeping in mind that some of this is only, Paradise has only had a hold of it for 30 days. They didn't even start some of this social media stuff until 1st of April. So I thought it was pretty encouraging as a whole. Okay. Anything else on the marketing? Any other updates? Patrick, are you good?
I'm good. And Sarah just updated me and said that the monthly reports are going to be up on the CAPC.biz
Oh, good.
shortly.
Thanks for watching, Sarah. Okay, so that puts us to our intern. We did interviews at last of our workshop for an intern. It's approved, the budget's approved. My understanding is that Heidi, I talked to her on the phone, and she's decided to move sooner. So I would think that we would pull her out of that pool.
Yeah, we wish her well, but doggone, why don't she stay in town?
Unfortunately. The good ones.
So,
I did want to say something. Jeff, is he still? No, I guess he left. An intern is someone that is trying to get into this field, and typically, we don't pay, most places don't pay interns. So us offering $15 for someone to kind of complete their education is really good.
yeah, I agree. Ron, is there an issue? Or, no, okay, it's not for us. Okay. So any recommendations? We still have 3 candidates. I called all 3 to thank them for coming, and only got 1 on the phone. So are we ready to make a move on hiring somebody, or what are we doing?
I think if we're going to do it, Molly's our best choice.
Molly?
She
I
definitely
agree.
understands the market.
So have you talked to her? Is she aware?
I have not.
Okay. Is anybody else, do we want to turn that into a recommendation or a nomination?
Yeah, I nominate Molly.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any discussion on nominating Molly for the position? Okay. Patrick
Yes.
is a yes. Harry?
Yes.
Melissa?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
And James?
Yes.
Okay. And so who do we want to contact her?
I'll be happy to.
Okay, you'll contact her and you'll get with the city for paperwork?
I can do that. First in the morning, right after I serve a romance package, breakfast in bed.
Oh, good.
Okay, so that's kind of our old business. The new business is fireworks. We've already gone over that. Was there anything else you guys wanted to? Fireworks?
No.
I've got,
Tickled.
the museum is something, they kind of act as a visitor center for us, and we've had a contract with them for a few years. Jeff is here. He's the new director. Come on up. For the museum, and we need to look at that, and if we're going to renew it or change it, we need to do that today. I'm going to just let you give us an update since
Okay.
maybe not everybody here knows you, but Jeff does the zombie crawl every year.
Jeff Danos, I think I
And
know
you
most of
probably
you
Hey, Jeff.
at this point. So yeah, I started at the museum in April, and prior to that, we had limited staff, very limited due to COVID. We were closed a number of days throughout the week. I believe that our previous director had left back in May of 2020. So like I said, it's been kind of skeleton crew for a while, and I believe that's probably the main reason why the contract had stopped happening with the CAPC. So basically, I'm here tonight to tell you that we are operating now daily from 9:30 to 4. We're just closed now on Wednesdays and Sundays. And that's just basically where we're at right now with budget. But we are starting to see more traffic come in. In case you weren't aware, I did bring a printout tonight just to kind of talk about some of the things that we do at the museum, because I do feel like, I've been there a little over a month now, and we are definitely operating as a visitor center. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind, we do have a lot of people that stop by, especially since we're pretty much one of the first things you see driving down into town, and we have that big flag that says open. We spend an awful lot of time explaining to people everything about the town, fielding questions, especially now with COVID. We do have rack cards in our museum, but as I'm sure some of you know, being in the tourist industry right now, a lot of those rack cards are not accurate. We're still waiting on updates from a lot of businesses, so we do field a lot of questions. We make a lot of phone calls on behalf of visitors, and this is all in addition to what we do as a museum, basically offering self-guided tours. We get people started, they go through the museum, and then of course just our regular work as a museum, preserving the history of our town. So I guess basically, I'm just here to request that we reinstate that contract that we had with you before.
I'll make a motion to reinstate the contract as noted in, what was it,
$7,500.
$7,500?
I'll second that.
Let me make sure that's right. No, it's $7,200.
72.
Okay.
Already budgeted portion for that. I just had a question on the rack cards. Anyone can put rack cards in there. That's not.
Correct, yeah, I mean, I think there's a state sanctioned size for rack cards, so we do try to stick to that, just because every now and then we'll get sizes that are a little weird and they fall and you don't see them. But yeah, other than that, we do try to mostly promote, Eureka businesses. We do have some rack cards in there for Crystal Bridges and some of the other areas, just because people that are coming down often are visiting Bentonville.
I'd just like to recommend that you work with our staff or with Patrick to do an email to all of the locals that say, hey, if you have rack cards, please bring them by the museum.
Yeah, and I'm not sure, like I said, I've only been there about a month now, so I'm not sure what the process was before.
Right.
But I do know that we are, we're actively calling some of the businesses that I have noticed that we're missing.
Yeah.
And as we get our email list back together and whatnot, that is something that I want to start pushing, is more interactivity between us and local businesses in town. There's been discussion about, possibly having some local nights, things like that, because it does feel like we need to get the museum back on people's minds and let them know what we have to offer, just so that, we can all work together a little closer.
Okay. All right.
I'd just like to reinforce the notion of historical tourism is a significant part of the tourism market.
Darn right it is.
And I can't tell you how many people engage in a conversation. I said, well, just go down to the museum, because it is a great look into the past of Eureka Springs. And I think people really, especially parents with kids, it is a big part of the tourism market, though.
And we're very fortunate to have Jeff managing it now. That's exciting.
Thank you.
So it's dynamic.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, if he can do to the museum what he does with zombies, then we'll be in great shape.
Yeah,
And
I'm trying to bring it to life, so.
yeah.
Hey, Jeff, feel free to reach out and coordinate with me, and I can see about, we can send out an email to the partners.
Okay.
To the collectors.
That'd be great.
And say, bring in your rack cards.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah,
got
for
them,
sure.
bring them.
Thank you.
That's great.
Okay, so we had a motion. Do we have a second?
I second it.
Okay, and we already had discussion, so
Yes.
Harry,
Yes.
Melissa,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
and James.
Yes.
Okay. The only thing is that contract, Melissa, will go to you
Okay.
because you sign our contract. You're the.
Okay.
Okay, I just want you to make sure you look at that, and if you would bring that, because I think
Okay.
there's been some question about contracts.
Okay, I
We
will.
might consider, upon your recommendation, that we have the municipal league look at it and make sure that it's fair for both sides, along with.
Yeah, okay.
Jeff.
That sounds great.
All the Ts are crossed.
But
and the
we'll
Ls
let you-
dotted, all that.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Well,
coming.
thank
and
you.
Thank you for serving. Okay. So we have a seat that comes open. That's my seat, position 1. I'm just going to turn it over. I'll just let one of you guys lead
I'll
that.
nominate Jeff Carter for position 1.
Second.
You're too quick.
Any
Darn
discussion-
right.
Any discussion on that?
Any other nominations?
Any other nominations? No? Okay. Patrick,
Yes.
Harry,
Yes.
Melissa,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
and James. Okay.
Yes,
We'll send that over to the city council.
my condolences.
Thank you for your vote of confidence. So I wanted to start the conversation. I've got this in new businesses for the auditorium. The auditorium is really it's a tourism asset for us. It belongs to the city, and we manage it and we work with them. Ron is here every day working. I visited with Ron. Ron actually would like to put his hat into the ring to become maybe an interim director or maybe a director, but he would like to have more clarification about what that job would be before he. So, do we want to start? Do we want to have somebody? Would someone like to volunteer to start the process of what an auditorium director would be? Job description, duties.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we have a committee to decide.
Is that something
Those-
you want to take on that?
I'll take that on.
I'll volunteer too, and I want to say Ron's an excellent choice.
Okay.
You know, some people say that the CAPC was started because of this auditorium. And so,
So we really probably only need one of you guys because you guys can't work together.
Okay.
So obviously, so
It's
I
Harry.
would recommend that one of you guys,
I'll work with Ron.
Okay.
okay? Ron, did you have anything you wanted to say or add? I don't want to put any pressure on you, but if you wanted to talk, you could. If you don't, that's fine as well.
I'll just speak from here. I think, you know, the position needs to be defined.
Okay.
And parameters, responsibilities, parameters.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be good in a workshop.
Yeah, Harry,
Yeah.
I do have some former job descriptions for that too.
Great.
I'll email over to you to start
Thanks.
with.
Do we need to make a motion on that and a second to do that, or we?
Yeah, let's
I think
do,
it's
like,
good.
I'll make a motion that Harry will team up a commission and work with Ron and get job descriptions and get the things that we need to get Ron going.
And then do we want to set a goal of maybe our next workshop for you to have some more information for us?
Why not?
Okay, so that would be our next workshop. Is that the 9th? Does that sound?
Yeah.
Let me check that date real
Okay.
fast. Yes, that would be the 9th. And so on the 9th, you'll present some new information. Okay. Any more discussion on that?
We need a second and a vote.
Yeah.
Second.
Okay.
James will second it. Patrick?
Yes.
Harry?
Of course.
Melissa?
Yes.
Yes. Carol?
Yes.
James?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll work on that. I put renovations in here because I do believe that this is a tourism asset. And I think sooner than later, we're going to have to talk about the auditorium and its purpose and how we can move forward with that. This is something for city council to also weigh in on. There is a design for an elevator to be added to the building.
All of that work is done.
Right.
And as a
Other
matter of
than
fact,
work.
the budget has been approved. So we just need to get some more bids. We didn't get any bids the first time it was
But
let out.
we've not approved it on our end. Did city council approve that?
City council approved it.
And you guys approved, do you know how much and what exactly it was for?
Well, actually, I thought, didn't
It was,
McClung say that the CAPC had put some money into the pool for that? Isn't that right, Rick?
I don't remember that, do you, James?
No, I don't remember that.
Rick,
No, we
Okay.
haven't voted on that.
we haven't voted on that.
Okay. Well, they had put,
Not to say we can't, I don't
Of
remember
course.
voting on that.
I'm getting confused a little bit because it's been so long, but, I know we got, a grant was rejected. That was it.
Okay.
And the city had allotted X amount of money and then the grant was rejected, so So then we've voted to pay for the whole thing.
Right. What I would like to propose is
It's
that
$150.
at our next workshop is that we look at all the numbers. I already have all of the drawings, and I have the one estimate at least that would have to be renewed, but it would give us a budget number to start with. I'd like for us to do that on the 9th and start that conversation. We also need to talk about, as a part of that, we need fly points in here so that when we do the bigger shows, we can fly speakers and hang them, and Ron can bring in speakers from wherever. We can fly them, or we can fly lighting, or whatever is needed for those shows. So we need to workshop that.
Do we need a proper psych screen?
We need to talk about
Just make a list.
yeah, we do. We need a workshop and say, hey, here's our what we really want list, and here's the list that we can afford.
Video backgrounds are a big part of a lot of touring performances
Absolutely, they
these
are.
days, and they're dynamic, they're fantastic, they really add to a lot.
Yeah, and so we're talking about, one of the things that Ron and I talked about, and Rick and I talked about, is that the need to utilize the basement much more. In order to do that, we have to have handicap accessibility. And then we also will want to add a video screen down there, so if people are down there and they're, whatever, dancing, drinking, whatever it is they're doing down
They
there,
don't have to
they can
miss the
still
show.
watch the show up here.
Yeah.
And it gives us the ability to spread out a little bit, which I think is a big win moving forward.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to put that on
We
the,
might as well use the whole building.
yes, and so I'm going to put that on the workshop for the night, and we'll kind of dive into that in a deep way, okay?
Once again, doesn't that also fall into historical tourism? You know, they not only get to come and see a show at the Odd, but they're in a piece of history right here.
Yeah, absolutely.
We get to tell them all about it.
Well, and then when you have big conventions like the AA convention, you could have them engaged with it in the basement.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it better to use a lot, and I agree with James and some of his comments about that we should be focusing some on our tourism assets. This is one of our tourism assets, and I think we really should focus on it.
Great.
I've asked Rick to create what our costs are, and it's in this, but I don't think it's probably the time for this. The office space, if we decided that we wanted to do some renovations over here, move that office space over here,
Yes.
we could save almost $30,000 a year,
Yes.
which is substantial. We would spend that money over here. So I just wanted to get it out in front of you so you could think about it. And looks like the events here, number 8, looks like we've already gone over all these, so I don't see any reason to cover those. Anything that you guys would like to have on the workshop or in our next meeting? It's going to be full, so,
Yes.
Sounds like it's full.
but all good
I'm
stuff.
sorry, Jeff, say that again?
Any agenda items that anyone would like to see for our next workshop or our next meeting, which would be on the 9th?
Yeah, I'd like to, I don't exactly know how to go about it. I'd like to revisit our relationship with Right Minds
Okay?
in Fort Smith.
Yep, I agree.
So we'll put that in the workshop there. Rick, will you get us what they're charging by hour and some of the rates?
You bet,
so that we'll
I sure will.
Have that.
Are we on a monthly stipend with them?
Yes, we are.
That's what I thought, yeah.
And that can be ended with notification in writing.
Yeah.
So
Do you know what that stipend is?
it's $3,500 per month.
Okay.
How is that working? If they don't use it, we don't spend it? Is that how that
Well,
operates?
that's what Jeff and I have tried to break it down to, but so far it's actually been more because they did our dining guide. And right now they're doing the pocket guide, the vacation guide
Okay.
that Lacey
I
did.
tried to get an update
But-
from them, and it's been difficult to get some updates. I'd like to know more about what they're working on.
I've been we're completely out of our vacation guide, and I've been trying to get that
exactly.
in the last week or two and haven't had any response either. So it is something we need to talk about.
Yeah.
Back when Mr. Maloney was here, we worked the devil out of them.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't make anything for the amount of work they did. But now that Paradise is on board, it's a whole different
Different dynamic.
layout.
Okay,
so.
well, we'll talk about that more in the workshop and get more information, so we'll have it all. Okay, any comments? Commissioner comments, Patrick?
Sorry, I'm still on agenda item. One other agenda item is that we need, at least in the workshop I'd like to discuss, is we need to talk about the rollout of the table tents, the window cling stickers, and the other stickers that will finally, hopefully, be printed. I think I got them on top of that now, finally. The numbers are looking good. They're within our budget. I'm sure, Rick, they'll just send you whatever they need, invoice-wise, and then Melissa will sign on it or however that works. But I'd like to talk more about the rollout and how we're going to get those out to the folks in the town.
I got it.
Okay, and then as far as commissioner comment, no, I'm
Harry?
good.
Comments?
Well, it's nice to have a meeting that we can vote on at, and I think we've done a lot this evening. And let's just keep rolling along.
I'm going to ditto Harry. I'm glad we had a meeting we could vote on. I want to thank Patrick especially for all his hard work with Paradise, and business is booming.
Patrick, could you remind us of the at Eureka Springs and hashtag, what you want people to do with that?
Good question. Hang on, let me open that folder. So what we've got is, we've got table tents that are coming. They're going to be in a heavy card with a coating. I'd love for those to be out in restaurants. They're a small footprint like other table tents you've seen. They're going to say, they've got our brand on them, like us, share us, tag us. Very simple. I wanted it to be just a quick drive-by on each of these. The stickers will say the same thing, and the window clings. The window clings are roughly half of a sheet of paper, so about that size. They're going to be a nice bright purple that's in our brand with the white type, and it says, for Facebook, it's at Visit Eureka Springs. For Twitter, it's at Eureka_Springs. And for Instagram, it's at Eureka Springs. Our hashtag is hashtag Eureka Springs. And then at the bottom of the table tents, we also have our eurekasprings.org website to remind people of that. Very small, but still there to help reinforce that everything is going to be tied into websites, social media accounts. I think the order of those, I have them changed to where they're Facebook, Instagram, Twitter now, so that we can get, folks tagging as they're in town. It's the way social media works, right?
Thank you. Nothing for me beyond that.
Yeah, I don't have any comments, James.
No comment.
Okay, we need
Move to adjourn?
motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second, all in
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No.